Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Oscar Rodriguez. I'm a VP head of data engineering at BlackThorn Therapeutics. BlackThorn, we are a biopharma company based out of San Francisco. We specialize primarily in neuroscience space. And today I'm going to be presenting to you how our data engineering team is supporting the different BlackThorn's R&D programs using AWS. So let's start with the overall agenda. First, I want to share more about myself and my experience. And then I'm going to talk about what is the underlying problem and how do we use AWS to address the problem. And then we're going to deep dive into overall technology landscape and the data engineering approach that we are using to support, the R&D programs within BlackThorn. And to wrap up, we're going to talk about some of the main key takeaways. Starting about myself is I'm the overall lead for data engineering at BlackThorn, but also I'm a board member of AIH, which is the Alliance for Artificial Intelligence in Healthcare. So currently, I'm responsible for driving the overall technology vision and implementation of BlackThorn's data science platform. So we have been working on this data platform on AWS for more than 3 years. And part of my goal today is to share our lesson learned, our experience. I have been working on the data space for big, small companies over the last 25 years. Recently, over the last years, I have been focused mainly on emerging technologies with reals of digital health, advanced analytics, AI, and ML. So this is the driving motivation. Most people don't know about this. So when I look at the accelerating role of the neuropsychiatric and neurodegenerative diseases is a global trend. For example, brain diseases are the leading cause of disability and death in the world, accounting for approximately 20% of global deaths. When we look at the way how neuroscience is running clinical trials, what we see is there is many clinical trials where all the patients are treated the same. From our point of view, that we see it as a challenge. We cannot have one size fits all in neuroscience. So we need to find a way to target the patients based on the indications that they need. So to that end, we have been developing a unique data platform on AWS over the last 3 years. There are three main blocks of the platform. The first one is the big data. How do we collect a large volume of data across multiple data sets? Those data sets that we have so far includes data such as genomics, fMRI, or image of the brain, audio, video, and wearable devices. So once the data is available in the system, then that's when we start processing the data using what we call information fusion. Think about start processing data, do the integration, so that we can start doing some of the downstream analysis. After that, that's when we start applying the computational learning using some of the proprietary AI and ML techniques. This allows not just to address the questions that we have from R&D in the short term, but also it helps us to advance the precision medicine in the neuroscience space. When we look at the complexity of neuroscience, what we see is we have multiple data sets. Some of those data sets could be compounds, could be text, could be genes, could be SNPs, all different classes of data. But also what we see is there is another challenge, which is how do we correlate, how do we link all the different tiers? And this is where the role of AWS is critical because AWS allows to do all the heavy lifting of the integration, but also AWS allows to have complex algorithms running in a manner that we couldn't do before. So in addition to this, one of the things that we have been developing within the platform is a unique approach to find the non-obvious relationships across all the different tiers. That's something that allows us not just to advance the precision medicine in neuroscience, but also allows to prepare for the future needs. So what I want to spend some time is describing what are our design principles, especially given the amount of complexity that we have on the data. Is we need to have solid principles. There are five. The first one is collaboration. We're working hand in hand with our data science team and digital health. So we have three departments. Our goal is march towards the same goal, and is so that we can help address the R&D questions as fast as possible. Second is, regardless of the problem, whether it's a small or big one, we always think about how can we come up with a solution using AWS where everything that we're building is scalable, everything that we're building is we're building in a way that we can answer R&D questions as fast as possible. This is critical, and it has been unique for the success of our platform. So third, we always think about is how do we keep innovating, but also at the same time, how do we build solutions that we can reuse all over and over, regardless whether the solution will be targeted for a data scientist, a scientist, data engineer, and so on. Four, the solution that we're building is a solution that is balancing the cost, but also technical part, especially when we look at the neuroscience space. The amount of data, the amount of complexity is unique. So that way, we have to make sure we can control the cost, on a regular basis. And the last but not least is this is one of my favorite principles is have a way to architect the data in a way that we can support the current needs, but also support the potential requests that will come in the future. There could be things that in the future we may going to have more data. In the future, we may going to have new data sets that we have today. So that's something that we have been very lucky to work with AWS on this particular part. So now, what I want to spend some time describing our technology landscape, starting with think about is like a building a house. In our case, the first layer is all the different tools related to infra, including network security, access control, logging, monitoring, orchestration. This is something, a framework that we have been refining over the last years. The second layer is now that we have the infra, so what are the different components that we have to support the data, the ML, the analytics, and also the reusable components that I was describing, like APIs. One example that I want to mention here is the use of AWS SageMaker. We have been using SageMaker for more than 2 years, and it has been a critical component of the overall end-to-end solution. And the last layer is think about is now that we have all the data, we have all the tooling in place. So what are the tools that we're sharing with data scientists, with scientists, so they can start exploring the data, they can start doing some advanced analytics, or even just looking at the results that they have so far. So if we look at the underlying problem that we just discussed, there is a lot of classes of data, a lot of volume of data, and the goal is how do we prepare all this data in a way that is easy to use for data scientists. So to that end, we have been developing multiple data pipelines. Think about data pipeline is a framework that allow you to process small or large volume of data in a way that you can automate this all over and over. As an example, we have been developing video and audio data pipelines. So this is something that we started back in 2018, and we have been growing the use of this data pipeline since then. The second pipeline is more around genomics data. This pipeline we started last year, and as of today, we have a couple of data pipelines running in production that allow us to process large volumes of external genomics data, but also genomics data that is being produced in our labs. The last example, this is another pipeline that we start again in 2018. This is around imaging, which is a pipeline that has been recognized and also awarded by multiple organizations, including AWS. We're going to go over in more details on the genetic and the imaging data pipeline. But before we go there, I just want to emphasize the importance and the criticality of having all this data in a tabular format in AWS. So let's go through the first example. We have the genotype imputation pipeline. So in this case, so what we're doing is the way how it works, the pipeline is fully automated in a way that we can onboard the data. After there is onboarded, we start the processing, meaning applying transformations, manipulations, and then we go through the quality control, the QC, and after the QC is done, then we can start aggregating large volumes of results in a way that we can prepare the output for data analysis. Everything that we have on this pipeline is fully automated. We have multiple, we're using multiple AWS services, including AWS S3 for our data lake. The second example is the MRI data pipeline, which allows first onboard the data. As of today, we have on board more than 10,000 MRI subjects, which translates to more than 700 terabytes. This is pretty large data that we have processed so far within AWS. After data is processed, is in our system, then we start mapping and modeling against patients' populations and genetic models, including MDD, schizophrenia, OCD, and so on. After the modeling, the mapping is done, then we start doing the data integration and start applying some of the proprietary AI ML techniques that we have developed within the data science team. This allows not just to address the needs that we have, but also allows to build the behavioral drivers of disability on the indications that we're working at the moment. So this is the technical reference architecture of MRI processing. So I'm going to walk through the end-to-end flow. Starting from the left side is the users. In this case, could be a data scientist, a data engineer. They will connect to the portal. Once they connect to the portal, the system will be asking what is the data you want to process, how many participants, what are the filters, what are the conditions. And then after that, is the system behind the scene will submit a request to underlying workflow. The underlying workflow is a mix of API gateway with some of the components running on an EC2. And after that, is the goal is to send a request to a computational cluster that is powered by AWS Batch. AWS Batch is one of the best tools from AWS in case you want to process large volumes of data in parallel. This is something that we have been using for many years. In addition to AWS Batch, we set up FSx for Lustre, which is allow you also to process, store large volumes of data so that you can get throughput of seconds or milliseconds. This has been critical for this particular pipeline. After the processing is done, then the final step on the pipeline is to write the results back to the data lake so that data scientists they can do the validation and start building some of the ML models. Um, Everything that is being captured within the process, as far as issues, logs, the overall status of the pipeline, is being stored in Elasticsearch. This is a unique framework that we have been refining again in collaboration with AWS. But you may be wondering why BlackThorn is building on AWS. There are many platforms out there. Um, I can think about the top three reasons. The first one is I believe AWS is the number one partner that allows us to process any kind of data sets, regardless of the volume, regardless of the diversity, in terms of whether it's genomics, fMRI. Uh, they have all the tools in place to do that. The second one, the second reason is the breadth and depth of AWS is not just the technical part. There are 100 services that are, companies Blackthorn we can use to build those. But also the most important part is AWS. They're bringing experts across industry, experts related to the domain of the data, experts related to how you want to build the solution. So that's something unique that again I'm very thankful that we have been partnered with AWS for all of this. And the third reason is when it comes to partnership, again, in my experience working over the last 25 years, I believe is the number one company that are the focus primarily in driving customer satisfaction. This is the reason why we call it exceptional AWS partnership. So we covered a lot. What I want to just in the next slides just talk about the main key takeaways. The first one is BlackThorn, we have been developing a fully integrated data platform based on AWS that allows to process large volume of data. So we cover all the different data sets as far as it could be audio, video, phenotype skills, as it relates to clinical data, imaging, genotypes, and so on, in a way that we can have one stop shop for all the data. Second one is not just the machine learning models that we can build for one data set, but also it allows to build what I would call multimodal ML across multiple data sets. Second one is the role that data engineering plays is critical, especially when we look at the different pipelines, fMRI, genomics. Given the complexity, you need to find a way to bring the data in a tabular format, in a way that is easy to use for downstream analysis. Again, is you're building a data science platform with your company, I will strongly recommend to bring the right data engineering team and also bring the right tools along with the support from AWS. And the last is, this is one of the reasons why I enjoy working for BlackThorn. We're disrupting also the industry by creating novel therapies that no one has done it before. We're using some of the top proprietary AI ML techniques that allows to find the non-obvious data relationships so that we can advance the precision medicine in the neuroscience space. If anyone wants to further discuss any of the topics that we covered today, is feel free to reach out to me. My email is on the slide. It's oscar.rodriguez@blackthornrx.com. And again, want to thank you for your time, and I want to thank you, Amazon, for this opportunity. Take care.